The culture in Guatemala is very colorful. No matter which place I was in, there was always just these fun little activities that they would do for their holidays, little parades. The houses were always painted different colors. If they didn't have a door, just like we do here in the States where you walk up and knock, they had a big patio with a fence or some sort of metal fencing to protect for safety reasons, that you would then yell very loudly to get their attention. Buenas! Or it's basically say, hey, hello, are you here? Things that I enjoyed the most was just how people were super friendly. You would come into a room, everybody would greet each other. The women would give a kiss on the cheek, the men would give a handshake, and you would talk with them and of course enjoy their company. But when you left, you would do the same thing. The woman would give a kiss on the cheek and the men would handshake, and they were just so friendly. They would give everything and anything, no matter how poor or how well off they were. It was amazing. They were just so kind to complete strangers. And it was amazing and shocking to see, because sometimes us Americans were very closed off to strangers. It's just a wonderful place, Guatemala. It's so beautiful. La Libertad's a little dusty because there's just like these little hills. But it's so pretty. It's so gorgeous in Tactique. It's just so green. It's basically, a rainforest. You can go hiking up the little mountain and finding these little houses and these people. And they'll just sit and talk with you. A lot of the food there is fantastic. We would always get beans, either liquid or solid, with tortillas and eggs for breakfast and cream and cheese. They'll feed you all the time. There's one called papian, a chicken dish with vegetables, and it's like a soup kind of thing. They call it caldo, which is broth. I loved the drinks they called them frescos, which is just fruit drinks. Like they basically take fruit, water, and sugar and blend it up in a blender. Also they had jamaica, which is like a tea, but it isn't. It's a flower, and it's pink, and it's sweet, and it's the best thing ever. They don't eat a lot of desserts there. Their desserts basically is like atole de elote, which is basically a drink made from corn and sugar and cinnamon. A lot of them think of that as their treat. They don't eat a lot of sweets there. They like the hearty stuff, like the bread. The pan dulce, I guess, could be their dessert too as well, but they like the rice, they like the chicken, they like the carne asada, which is like almost like steak, but like pressed in a presser, and it's thin. It's good. They like their food, and they do a good job making it. Some of my favorite store snacks that you would buy are called chokis, which are just chocolate chip cookies. Some crazy foods that I have had is duck, which is really good. Other more obscure stuff is turtle. They eat the legs of the chicken. They boil it in water and soup and vegetables, and then they give it to you. I luckily didn't get to eat that, but I ate pata de res, which is the foot of a cow, which is very fatty. Really, it's weird. It's so weird. It was rare to have a sink. Instead, you'd use a pila, which is like a rectangular concrete. One side had like ridges where you would go and wash your clothes by hand. The middle part was a big basin where the water would be, and you would scoop the water to rinse out the clothes. And the other side was just a rectangular case where you could put your dishes or your extra clothes. They had little tiendas on pretty much every corner where you could get just the food, treats, candy, chips, water, sodas, and you could also get like toilet paper or Band-Aids or candles or things like little things, almost like a gas station or a Walmart, but condensed. A lot of people worked in these tiendas, or they'll work as chapeando, or like cutting down the corn or the weeds around the homes, or they would be building homes. The women would be tortillando, making the tortillas in the little tortilla stands around the city that you would go, if you didn't make your own, go and buy your own tortillas for food. The crime depended on where you were. Coban had crime, but it was a lot more, I guess you could say, controlled. Paptun at one point was closed to missionaries due to how heavily dangerous and crime-filled it was, but then it was reopened. Things to do, there's always some fun little shops. They have Mundo de Tres, it's kind of like their version of a dollar store that you could go in there and look at little knickknacks. Some of the holidays that I found really fun was the Dia del Niño, is when the kids have a day where they're at school and they have these huge little activities. As you walk by the schools, you see the kids doing stuff like with piñatas and obstacle courses, and depending on the weather, they would have like pools and water games. And they would also do a Dia de Maestro, kind of like a teacher appreciation day. The people are very centered towards God. So a lot of their traditions or their holidays are God or Christ-centered. They're very Catholic, very, very Catholic, or Christian, I should say. So each plaza or center of the city, there's like a little park in the middle, and there's always a Catholic church. Always. There's, without fail, one within the plaza. And many people would greet you like, God be with you, or God bless you, or whether or not they're practicing or not, God is always in their lives. A funny story. It'll be super hot. You'll be sweating the minute you walk out the door. Within 5 minutes, the sky turns black and rain just pours through the sky. It'll come and it'll drench you. It's like so fun. We were in the Libertad, and they have these little villages that are a little bit out of town that you have to take a bus to go to. And we had to get back in time for another appointment in town, and we were waiting for the bus to come from the main city into the Libertad on the main road. And we could see we all saw the signs. It was super hot during in the morning and a little throughout after lunch, and we could see the clouds coming, and we're like, we're not going to make it. It's like, should we just have an appointment, contact somebody here and wait out the weather? But we couldn't find anybody. No one wanted us in. So we waited, and we could just see the water coming, like this wall just growing, and the bus was like inside it, so we would have been hit. And when we finally got onto the bus and then back to town, the streets were flooded, and we're like, oh, well, we're wet anyway, let's just walk around in the stream of water that's the street. Estoy muy agradecido por ustedes porque Cobán, Petén, Guatemala es un segundo hogar para mí. Estoy muy agradecido por el amor que ustedes le dan a mí durante mi tiempo en sus vidas. No estoy con ustedes, pero parte de mi corazón todavía está allá en Guatemala.